So yeah, I remember being really quite young, even from a young age, trying to figure out like ways in which I could kind of make more money. Like, could I sell things? Could I, whatever the case may be. Like, I used to think to myself like, what can I do to get more money? And I remember even being young too, like, and sometimes pinching a little bit of money here and there too. You know what I mean? Being really naughty. Not a lot of money, just pinching like a few dollars here and there, a couple of, being young, thinking I need more money, but how do I, how do I do, how do I, I remember being young and thinking, I know my mum's doing her best, and she's pretty much on her own to a degree, and she's got 3 of us, and she's working all the time to try and like provide and do everything, put a roof over her head, and etc. Feed us and clothe us and put a roof over her head and make sure we got a decent kind of life. And I remember like even thinking at a young age that I used to feel bad, believe it or not, having to go and ask my mum and say, Mum, like, I need more money than this. Like, you've given me. No, like, I used to feel, you know what I mean? No, yeah, even at that young age, mate, I used to feel. That's why sometimes I used to even go and pinch a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Sometimes I know where she's before. When I was really young, I remember I used to know where she used to put my money for the week, if you see what I mean. And sometimes I'd take a little bit more for the day than I was supposed to. But it's because I kind of needed it, if you see what I mean, like what she was giving me, because obviously I needed bus fare, because I was getting the bus to and from school, and then I needed money to get like food and drinks and different things throughout the day. You know what I mean? When you're young too and you're growing, you're hungry. When you're young, it's not like when you're an adult. You know what I mean? You eat a lot more when you're younger. If you see what I mean, you're running around all day. You've got an appetite. You're doing things. If you see what I mean, your metabolism's stronger when you're younger. If you see what I mean, you're hungry. You're growing. You need. So I remember even being young thinking, God, like, I don't want to have to go and ask my mum, like for more money, because I know it might not be there, might not be available, if you get what I mean. So from the age of like, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, mate, I was already hustling, if you see what I mean, doing different things, if you see what I mean, at school and otherwise, like trying to figure out ways to make money in life. Whether it be with gambling, that's why I said even when I was really young, that's why I said to you, that's why I got into gambling at school and that, because it was literally, sometimes my mum would give me a little bit of money, I'd be like, this is not enough, so like, when I get to school in the morning, I'm going to go and like, take this money and go and try and make more money with it quickly, see if I can, get lucky and make some more money very quickly and get another $10 or $15 for the day that I might need, you know what I mean? Keep it moving. So, yeah, it wasn't, a lot of the time it wasn't, there were times where it was out of greed, I'm not going to lie, when I was, a few times where it was out of greed, but a lot of the time it was literally just, I just needed more money to survive. I was just young and, just...
Well, I think, like, again, we were talking about child and all this and upbringing and all that, I think, like, each child is a little bit different, aren't they? We've all got different childhood, basically. And I don't think I knew about, really, business or anything until I was a bit older.
Well, I must say, I didn't fully understand it. Obviously, when I left home at a young age and I got married and had kids and had my own home and had to provide, and I've been providing now for 14 years, for 13, 14 years now, since I left home. But I didn't really understand it to the full extent, obviously, because when someone, I used to have, when I left school, I used to have to contribute to the house, but obviously what I was contributing wasn't a significant, like nowhere near what my mum was paying at the end of the day, if you see what I mean, to keep us in the house and everything, if you see what I mean. That was just basically my keep, if you see what I mean. I'd have to give her $100 a week out of my paycheck.
So I didn't have to pay much keep.
So I had to pay it.
But
it's when I hit 16, because I was no longer in education, and at that point both my sisters were here in the UK, and it was just me and my mum. And obviously my mum trying to pay for everything on her own, if you see what I mean, because at one point my older sister, because also don't forget my older sister, she's older, she was working and helping as well. But when she moved back over here, my mum didn't have that anymore. She was essentially on her own to pay for everything until and then when I started work, it was like basically I need this amount of money from you a week just to basically feed you and everything else.
So I think we all got different circumstances here, like some parents have got it all.
Yeah.
And as soon as you leave school, you got a house.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't. My parents really. My mum remarried, they provide very well for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't really have to pay keep. Do you know what I mean? I think my mum charged me £10, but sometimes I didn't pay it.
Yeah.
You know, I got away with it. You know, and I was a little bit spoiled, but I was a little bit poorer when I was younger. My mum started getting richer as I was getting older.
Okay.
You know, she started getting more successful year after year. You know,
Yeah.
and it grew.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, well, I think when I was about 5, my mum and dad divorced.
Okay.
Okay. And then my dad kicked my mum out of the family house, me and my brother. Do you know what I mean? And then I went to live on their hands, and my mum didn't have a house. Do you know what I mean? And then she got a house 3 years later or something, you know, because it takes a while on the council. Got one, and then there I was, do you know what I mean? So I think like our circumstance is a little bit different, you know, and some children learn about the business world and some children don't. Some children are more well off than others, you know.
Well, I was going to say, if you're, like you said, if you're born into, if you grew up in a household where you never have to worry about money, if you see what I mean, where you never, every time you asked your parents for money, for whatever you needed, it was available. Then you don't have to think about it, do you? Because every time you've asked for it, it's been handed to you, if you see what I mean. So you're not really thinking about how your parents got that money, how hard they had to work, where it came from, whatever else.
No, you still got a lot to learn about.
But then you have to do it for yourself, and you have to provide for yourself, and look after yourself, and a family, and other things too. You know, looking after yourself is easy in comparison to looking after a whole family. You know. So even looking after yourself can be difficult in this day and age. You know, people living alone and they're on minimum wage, trying to pay for a flat. And say you're a young gentleman who's living on his own. Let's say for today, and he's on minimum wage, working 40+ hours a week, and he's got a flat and bills and council tax and food and everything else to buy. The reality is once he's paid all those things, and his phone bill, and internet, and everything else that he has to pay by himself, all that money is gone. You best believe it. There'll be very little money even to buy clothes or whatever else if he needs to.
Well, I know, like the price of living has been going up, right?
Yeah.
Up and up.
If you think about it though, right, mate? There's people out there, right, living on the road today, right, mate? And they earn close to £2 grand a month after tax. Yeah?
Yeah.
Their flat is £750. Their council tax is £150. That's £900 gone. Then you got your shopping and your food for a month. Even one person today, one person today a month, you're looking at a good £200 at least, just for one person a month for your food. At least at a minimum. That's being at a minimum. That's £50 a week. Yeah. If you want to eat well, anyway, eat decently. And then other things, if you see what I mean. So by the time if you got a car, phone bill, internet,
so on,
etc., etc., the list goes on.
Yeah. So
by the time you've paid, you're probably going to have about £200 or £300 left to get you through a whole month, if you see what I mean. So it's.
I mean, the things I've noticed really, like going back in time. When I was 18, I went to the pub. You could buy your friends a drink.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. You could afford it. You get paid.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't get paid in the bank back then. You'd get paid every week.
Your wages, yeah.
On a Friday.
Envelope or something.
And you'd have a little envelope, a grey little envelope with
your name on it.
And you open it up, and whatever you did the hours, you get paid for it.
Yeah.
And it was like your pocket money. You could give your mum whatever, or you just knew where you were. Today you've got to put it in the bank.
Yeah.
You got to, it's all kind of a bit different to what it was. You know what I mean? Like I said, I used to buy rounds.
Yeah.
And it used, people, back then people used to have more parties.
Yeah.
But things have slowly changed. There's more cars on the road today. The cars are more modern.
People have got less money for pleasure today.
You can't afford to buy people a drink.
Yeah. And when I say pleasure, I mean like People going out for meals, people going out to the cinema, people going bowling.
Yeah.
Even the ordinary activities that loads of people used to love to do and go and do.
Just
People are a lot more hesitant today to do it because, like you said, costs money, and people, especially like if people, like I said, if you're living in that, even like if you're living in a household where both, like you're a couple and you've got kids and both of you are minimum wage, it's still going to be a struggle. And those people are going to feel the pinch, if you see what I mean, and they will have very little money to do the extras. You will be able to survive and get through, but you won't be able to do any extras. You might not be able to take your kids out for a nice meal somewhere, or take them out to, let's go to the zoo for the day. That's 50 quid or close to 75 quid a day, you know what I mean, for all 3 of you or 4 of you, however much. It costs money. People won't be able to do it because they haven't, the first thing they're going to think, oh, we've only got a few hundred quid now to get us through the rest of the month. We've paid everything, got our food, got our bills paid, rent's paid, everything's paid, but now we've only got a few hundred quid to get us through the month. So we need to hold on to this for dear life, in case anything pops up, or we need some milk, or we need some bread, or we need some nappies for the kids if they're young, or, you know what I mean? So a lot of people will be restricted, and then frustration sets in. And that's the society we're living in today. That is, that is a reality for most people on a global scale today.
I mean, today I feel a lot more comfortable and warmer than I used to. You know, like I said, when 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, when I was a young boy, we never had double glazing. And I didn't have electric heating like I've got today, do you know what I mean? And I didn't have the internet, and even the clothes have got softer, you know, and the socks that I put on, you know, they're more comfortable. The shoes are better. You know, and I didn't have sunglasses back then either, and things like that, do you know what I mean? So 50 years, you know, we've changed a lot. I think like maybe sunglasses were invented then, I don't know, 50 years ago, but I'm not sure. But, you know, it's like everyone's got them today, you know, and I think like, I look at people and they're a lot more comfortable than they were 500 years ago. You know, I mean, the peasants used to wear very uncomfortable material clothes back then, you know, they used to itch you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like horsehair.
Oh goodness, I can imagine. Yeah.
You know, so why should we be so unhappy? We're a lot richer than we imagine.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are ungrateful today.
With electric.
Because you see the base. Okay, here in the UK, we were talking about this very early before we started this week's episode. Here in the UK, right, there'd be a lot of people, right, that they may have a very basic life and they might just be surviving. But at the end of the day, they on a basic essential level, they've still got everything they need.
Exactly.
And there's lots of people out there that the same life that people might complain about and moan about because, you know, even though they've got a roof over their head and got food in the cupboards and they're able to get by and struggle and get by and still be okay, you've got somewhere to live and got food and, you know, whatever, still got somewhere warm. There's people out there that would love to have that, if you get what I mean, that would, you know, haven't got that would absolutely do anything to have that, if you see what I mean, you know.
I mean, 50 years ago, again, going back there, I don't think there's so many charity shops around.
True, yeah.
Right, and today, there's charity shops.
There's a lot of them, especially where we live, mate.
You know, like...
And I'm not sure if it's because we've got an older demographic in our surrounding area, if you see what I mean. I don't know if that's the reason why, but we seem to have quite a lot of them, don't we, really?
Yeah, and also car boot sales as well. People do them here now. I mean, that's a new thing. You know, I think they've only been going on for about 20 years now, maybe 25, I don't know. It's quite a new thing, but 50 years ago there was no car boot sales. I can't remember any charity shops being around. You know what I mean? Yeah. And people, if they had to buy a cup, it used to be quite expensive. You know, but today it's kind of like, you know, if you want a cup, you can go in a charity shop and buy one for 10p.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and it's like we're being spoiled by materials today that we don't realise. You know, and it's like a throwaway society in a kind of way today we're living in. I say every decade kind of changes, doesn't it? You know, and we don't realise it, but it does in a big way. You know, even this decade, you know, you look at like, I mean, 10 years ago, I think it's changed, you know, quite a lot. You know, even the software. You know, people, that's a big business, software.
Yeah.
You know, people working on software and improving on it every day,
Yeah.
making it better for the future.
The technology. Yeah.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Another $1 billion industry. And will only continue to grow.
I think, like, you know, business is, you know, like, it's all to do with happiness as well, really, isn't it? You know, like a good business, people need to be happy.
Right.
And I think, like, happiness, I just wish we were living in a happier world in a way. Because, like, as I say, it's a bit unfair where some people have got to really, you know, do cleaning for nothing. You know, not get much for it.
And sometimes they work 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week.
You know, they can't pay their bills, do you know what I mean? You know, and all this kind of stuff. But then there's other people that really sort of like got everything.
But it's amazing how someone we can afford to pay a sports person who's exceptionally good at their craft.
Yeah.
Just for kicking a ball or playing a sport, but we can't find money to pay, you know, people that look after people a decent wage.
That's right, like nurses.
Nurses, and even carers too. Like, I'm a big advocate for carers too. There's a lot of carers out there that, you know, they work exceptionally hard looking after other people's relatives and families and whatever else, and really look after them, and also have to do some not so nice, you know, things as well, in terms of like helping them to wash and taking them to the toilet, and, you know, changing them when they've soiled themselves and all these kind of things, because, you know, obviously, you know, sometimes that happens with the older people. And what I'm trying to say is that people out there that have to do these types of jobs where they're essential to society, you know, and they're really doing it, you know, really providing a good service to people, you know, to give it a better quality of life and other things like this. People should be rewarded for those things.
Yeah,
you know?
they're not, are they? Do you know what I mean? They're not being appreciated.
And
it doesn't make them feel good, you know, because these people, right, they're doing their job out of their heart, and, you know, putting a lot of appreciation, you know, and effort into it and kindness, and they're not getting paid for their kindness, you know, or it just doesn't feel kind, you know, and they're not being appreciated for their work, all their good work. Where football, you know, they just, okay, they're good at football, and they get so much money, and it's unbelievable. And I don't know, do you know what I mean?
And I'm not just calling out.
It doesn't make them
not just calling out footballers. It's just the fact that we live in a society that's so backwards.
Yeah,
that we can afford to pay sports people we can put them on multi-million contracts every year. Plus they get endorsements and other things. And I'm not saying that shouldn't be the case. What I'm saying is that the same way we can find money for those things, surely we can find money to ensure that the people that really provide an essential and very good service for society with all their heart and all their hard work and everything else, that they can afford to have a decent living to themselves. If you see what I mean. So, yeah. Anyway, mate, before we wrap it up and call it a night, you know, for this week's episode.
Business night.
It's business night, yeah. Any final words, any closing statements, anything at all you want to leave with the people in regards to business before we, you know, get out of here?
I don't know, you know, it'd be interesting to, you know, see any comments about, you know, what we've said or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I think like the business world, can be an amazing place, I suppose, but it can be also a wicked place. You know, personally, I mean, I've seen quotes about business, you know, it takes the magic out of life, apparently, business and money. You know, where without it, it used to be more magical. Children used to be more magical, and people used to be more magical, you know. It's separated us, I feel, business in a funny way, you know. It's just the way it's evolved. You know, I mean, no, I don't think anyone can do anything about it. Sitting on this planet here, you know, it's just evolved like a monster growing in a kind of way. You know, somebody's come up with the idea, and it's spread like wildfire in a way. You know, and in a kind of way, it's making the world work, isn't it? You know, in a funny way. You know, where we're surviving, aren't we? But I don't feel like we're together like we used to be.
Yeah.
Somehow, you know. So, I mean, we used to be all farmers at one point, you know what I mean? But we've all kind of like slowly evolved, you know, with machinery that, you know, into the world we got today, basically. So, and I don't think anyone can do anything about it, really. You know, it's just
it is what it is.
It is what it is, you know. And
No.
I mean, personally, I don't really like the business world. I wish it was different in a kind of way. You know, I wish that we all work together.
Yeah.
And I kind of think like the business world doesn't work together. It's always sort of fighting against each other in a kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one day it will evolve together. You know, like these. It's like the banks, for instance. You know, I've noticed over the years they merge together.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like these. You know, I think like maybe 50 years ago there might have been about 100 different bank companies around. But today they've evolved. You know, they emerge together.
Yeah.
They grow in size, and then they decide to, you know, one's dropping down a bit. You know, and they decide to merge together or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe one day this is going to be one big company. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I hope. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I said, it'd be good if. I mean, if I was running government, right, I'd come up with an idea that, you know, the taxes that everyone's paying would pay for people being employed, basically, for window cleaning or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, and the business would, the government would run the business. You know what I mean? And just make sure every child is in work. And really, when you leave school, you could do any job you want to, in a kind of way. And the government would look after you. You know, in the job that you want to. Do you know what I mean? And you know, whether it's scaffolding or whatever, do you know what I mean? There would be a job, but it's all run by the government. Do you know what I mean? There's no boss.
Yeah.
They're the boss in the kind of way, you know. Do you know what I mean? You know, but I just think there's, I just think there's different ways of running this world.
But then people would say that would be a communist society.
Yeah, but I just think there's a better way than.
And that's the problem with that.
I think there's a better way of running things.
There are countries out there where things exist like that.
Yeah.
Where the government dictates everything.
I don't think the government should dictate, but I think it should be the rules of the government. You know, like I said, the game Blackjack, right? It's got certain rules, and if you had certain rules, like for instance, every child should be guaranteed a job when they leave school.
Yeah.
That should be the rule. If every child should be born, should be guaranteed a small garden, that should be the rule, right? And somebody working government would have to follow those rules.
Yeah, yeah.
As well. I mean, he's just got the job of running the office there, you know. You know, I just think there should be a better system. I don't know what, but there's got to be something a lot better than this, because, like I say, this system is great for some people. You can own an island, you know, you can buy it all out, you know, but other people are struggling in blocks of flats, you know, like sardines in one flat. You know what I mean? And it's just, we should be looking after each other. Simple. You know what I mean? We're not going to be here for long. You know, and I don't understand why everyone's trying to buy and own everything when we're not going to be here for long. You see what I mean? You know, to pass on to our children, and they're going to have their problems as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel that every child, personally, if I was a child, I'd want everyone to be, you know, like money's made people rich and poor. You know, if you take money away, nobody's going to be rich and poor. We're all going to be the same in a kind of way, you know. It's just put a division in money, I think, you know, put money in. But like I say, if you put rules around money, like put the maximum wage on there, and it would just control everyone. Seriously, you know. But how can you do that now? So I mean, it's too late. You know?
It's impossible.
Well, you know, yeah. You know, I'm just talking. I know this could be a better world than it is. And I feel that a lot of people feel the same. You know, I don't know the answers to it, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I just know that it could be a lot better than this. You know, this is not making sense.
It's not the ideal world, is it?
Where children are leaving school, they're unhappy. Children, I see on, you know, a lot of children are unhappy. I just feel that the world's completely a bit mixed up. Do you know what I mean? There's school killings here and there, over, you know, whatever, you know, and it's just in a kind of way where we're living in a more comfortable world, but I feel like it's getting more dangerous. That's all the world, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, money can be good, but it can be dangerous.
It's true. Very, very true. All I will say before we call it a night is mind your business and mind the business that feeds you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Mind your business
and
mind the business that feeds you.
And I'd just say, try to be self-employed.
Yeah.
That's all I'd say.
Same.
Be independent.
Try your best to be self-employed. Be your own boss at all costs.
Yeah. That's what you should aim for.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to take a win. Sometimes you have to take a loss.
Try to find out what you enjoy doing and aim to be independent.
Right.
What you enjoy doing.
Exactly.
It's sometimes it's no good working for somebody else. In a kind of way.
Well, it's some people have to, but
yeah,
because that's just society. But the more people that can work for them, you'll be happier working for yourself. I guarantee you, if you can.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Anyway, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode. Of course, we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode. So please stay tuned for that. Good night. God bless. One love. Yeah.